For years, America has progressed significantly within technology. Inventions, ideas, and movements have shaped and formed how our nation operates today. Though technology has improved the lives of Americans in many ways, war and the post-war eras have proved to be the most successful and innovative times in our nation's history. In this short video, the viewer will observe how technology and its improvement has influenced the many cultures and phases of growth the United States has experienced. In the 1760s, Comanche Indians were fighting Spanish colonialism with horses as their main advantage. Guns and metal weapons in Comanche hands shocked the colonists, yet it was horses and the way Comanches used them to make war that tipped the balance of power in the Spaniards' disfavor. Throughout the Civil War in the 1860s, horses were also the primary mode of transportation. Weaponry was very different from what it is today, as you'll learn after hearing Dolly Lunt's journal entry from July 22, 1864. Dolly was a widowed schoolteacher who witnessed Sherman's army as they marched through her fields in Covington, Georgia. "We have heard the loud booming of cannon all day. The road is full of carriages, wagons, men on horseback, all riding at full speed. A wounded general was traveling in a bed in a small wagon." Following the Civil War, major developments during the Progressive Era brought new light to our nation's abilities. As Orville Wright sent his telegraph announcing the first successful flight in 1903, electricity and the gasoline engine changed modes of transportation and communication. All of these would prove to be detrimental in our success in future wars. The ease of access to electricity encouraged business owners to build large factories. More jobs became available, and the Great Migration to the North was conceived. Beginning in the late 1910s, roughly 6 million African Americans moved to the North in hopes of escaping harsh segregationist views and finding new opportunities for employment. During the Great Migration, African Americans began to build a new place for themselves in public life, actively confronting economic, political, and social challenges and creating a new Black urban culture that would exert enormous influence in the decades to come. As the United States saw its entry into World War I, new inventions increased success. Though trenches and barbed wire sheltered troops, tanks and flamethrowers proved capable of piercing entrenched positions, and new chemical weapons like poisonous mustard gas made it possible to attack entrenched soldiers without direct combat. The horses and carriage ambulances of the Civil War were now advanced, fine pieces of technology. Though America faced a recession in 1921, the United States entered an unexpected period of economic prosperity and expansion following World War I. This was mostly due to advancements in technology. Development of the assembly line made vehicles an important industry, providing jobs and boosting other areas such as steel, rubber, and glass. The railroad stretched west, and Japanese and Mexican immigrants found new jobs and opportunities as well. Historians conclude that the event that put a stop to the economic downturn following the 1920s was World War II. By the middle of 1941, the economic problems of the 30s, unemployment, deflation, industrial sluggishness, had vanished before the great wave of wartime industrial expansion. The war effort was suddenly a national phenomenon. Women worked in factories, employees invested in war bonds, and production was significant. The American economy expanded at an unprecedented and unduplicated rate between 1941 and 1945. The gross national product of the U.S. grew from $88.6 billion in 1939 to $135 billion in 1944. Though the economy prospered, there was a lot of change in the social aspect of America. The Fair Employment Practices Committee, or FEPC, was a committee established by U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1941 to help prevent discrimination against African Americans in defense and government jobs. Unfortunately, not all citizens benefited from wartime America. Reiko Komoto was a California-born Japanese citizen who was sent to an internment camp during World War II. He recalls his time there by saying, "It was not a good experience. I was afraid a great deal of the time. I became a timid and introverted person. People are people. Judge them as individuals, not by race, color, or creed." Looking back, our nation without a doubt faces slight shame towards how we've treated immigrants and non-natives. In the broad view of things, we found ways to prosper during times of war, and our innovative minds lead us to our most productive times. War brought forth new technologies and aspirations. How Americans utilized advancements is what helped us win wars and improve our daily lives. The flourishing economy of World War II and the prosperity following World War I eventually helped us in all of our endeavors. We credit wartime and post-war eras for the success and new ideas that make us who we are today, a nation of industry.